Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, Jersey. All right. Number one in here tonight. Good evening, PG and chat. Let's find Summer Wells and bring her home. Amen. Amen. Boy, that sure would be a prayer answered, girlfriend. Prayer answered. Absolutely. And number two, Miss Justice. Much love, PG, and prayers. Much love and prayers to you, girl. God bless. Number two. And 77, you are number three. All right. Good evening, all. Good evening to you. God bless. Good to see you in here. And Mama Homestead, how you doing, sweetie? You are number four. Number four in here tonight. God bless. Good to see everybody in here. Absolutely. Good to see you all. Hey, Australia, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you in here. Deputy Sheriff, good to see you, hon. God bless. A lot of waving hands, a lot of hearts, a lot of everything in here tonight. God bless. Oh, that is beautiful. That's beautiful. I like that. Um, hey, Bridges, how you doing? Hello, good evening, PG. Love you. And God bless you for being there for Summer Wells. You're an angel. Oh, sometimes maybe. You're giving me, girl, you're touching PG's heart tonight. You give me too much credit. That's all glory to God. But she says you're an angel. And hello, everyone in chat tonight. Much love, justice for Summer Wells. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You really are touching my heart. You know, I don't always feel like an angel. I don't always feel like an angel. That's the truth. But you know what? Hey, I appreciate you calling me one. Um, hey Texas Blue, how you doing tonight, Miss Justice? She says hello and much love. Hey girl, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You guys are so amazing. So amazing. Hey Brat. Good to see you too, girlfriend. She's been remembering me. She's been remembering PG. She says, Summer Moon, you told Wells, much love and prayers, Miss Norway, and prayers for all the chat as well. God bless. God bless. Hey Linda, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you in here. And let me see. Oh, Lindsay, I don't want to miss you. I don't want to miss you. Good to see you. Good to see you this evening. Good evening to you. And Carolina, how you doing? 2025, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you in here. And there's 5224. How you doing, Angel? How you doing, sweetie? Wow, child, how you doing? She says, hello to you. There's Lisa. Let me see. Wonder Woman's in here. Good to see you, hon. And spread love. How you doing tonight? Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Sending love for summer. Amen. Amen. Let me see. Patty Ponytail. Starbucks. How you doing tonight? I'm trying not to miss anyone. I'm trying to not miss anyone. I know I probably will, but I'm trying not to. Prayers blessing for all in need of them. Prayers for all of the missing children. Tons of prayers, friendship, hugs, love from Oklahoma. Amen. Amen. I'm grieving mama. God bless. Hey, Texas Blue, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Absolutely. God bless. Hey, 7129, I don't want to forget you. Number 24, hey, PG Mods in chat. Hey to you, girlfriend. Good to see you in here. Oh, and I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom. Praise the Lord. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Candy, Candy. Great. I'm calling her Cindy. It's Candy. How you doing, sweetie? She says hello to the deputy. Hello, deputy. Good to see the deputy in here tonight. Good to see everybody in here tonight. Much love to everyone. Oh, Australia, I appreciate that, girlfriend. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Please hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. Hit it for these missing kids. You know, everybody, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps keep the channel out here. It helps these, you know, with the missing children being able to be seen and heard about, and all the information, you know, spreading far and wide. And it's all for the children. It's all for the children. You know, when you help the channel, you help the children. That is the truth. Hey, Patty Allen, how you doing, sweetie? Hello, PG and all. Prayers and much love. Prayers and much love for you. God bless. Oh, number 30. Patty Pony says number 30. Much love. All right. I'm going to get right to it tonight. I want to get right to it, you guys. A lot going on out here in the YouTube world, right? A lot going on out here in the YouTube world. But I'm going to play more of Fred and PG's hours of talk. And was quite a few hours. I'm not going to dispute that. I talked to Fred quite a bit, you know, because there's a lot to learn, right? A lot to learn in this case, a lot to learn in Cotton's case, a lot to learn in all of these cases. But yeah, you know, I put the hours in, and I'm playing them out. You know, I think everybody has a right to hear everything, and you know, at the end of all of these hours, you know, because I have to take all of our conversations from, you know, recording and put it into, you know, content. You have to, you know, you have to take it from one place, put it to another place, and then, you know, do what you need to do there. And, you know, it's a process. It's a process, you guys. And then, you know, I'm able to upload it on here and then bring it on the screen for you to see. So, you know, it's a lot of work. And you know, I've been putting all of this together, you know, in spare time. I've been putting all these hours of mine and his conversations, you know, together for you guys to hear out. And you know, you have a right to hear it, right? You guys got every right to hear what goes on behind the scenes. And you know, I didn't expect to play it out this soon. I you know, I still had questions, and I didn't expect to play it out this soon. But you know, Ziggy decided, you know, she decided to try to, you know, make everything into something it absolutely wasn't. And that was her bad. You know, that was her bad. I wonder how Fred feels about that. I wonder how he feels about, you know, everything, you know, being played out that, you know, that he said, you know, all the incriminating stuff that he said behind the scenes. I wonder how she feels about it all being played out here. You know, I mean, of course you're going to turn it over to law enforcement, but I wonder how, you know, how he feels about it all coming out, you know, out here in the real world for everybody to hear and listen to, and really get a feel of who and what Fred Hill really truly is. I don't think he likes that much. Just saying. I really don't. You know, Fred is one of those people that he wants to, you know, he's trying to paint himself, you know, as a hero in the case of Summer Moon, Utah Wells, and everyone else into villains, right? Into villains. But to be honest with you, they were all villains, in my opinion. Every last one of them. Don, Candace, Grandis, Jody Sue, Andy Bernard, Fred, Laura, Chad Arnold, Marlena Crawford, her brother, you know, uh, the whole kit and fucking caboodle of these people, I feel as, all villains, evil villains, in the missing case of Summer Moon Utah Wells. That's my opinion. I'll keep it. They wasn't none of them doing what was righteous. Fred Hill talks about, Fred Hill wants to talk about how, he saw this and he saw that and he saw all of these things, like I seen, a big flashing sign up there at Ben Hill Road, back when Rose Bly went missing, and that Rose was up on the hill, and they were, Don and Candace, they were all having, they were, basically running a not good business up there with these young girls and so forth and so on. Well, why didn't you report it? Why didn't you report it to law enforcement? Why didn't you have it shut down? If you were so against it and you knew about it, why didn't you do something, to help these people? If you came up there and seen Jody Sue's old boy in the swimming pool with little Summer and nobody attended to it, and you had, suspicions, like you said, was, running around your head, right? Let's chase cars around our heads, right? So, if you was just had this, bad thoughts running around your head instead of cars, why didn't you report it? Why didn't you turn it in to law enforcement, or, why didn't you call 911 and say, hey, I think you better get up here. There's some big old boy in a swimming pool, ain't looking right with the little girl. I mean, I don't know, but I think something ain't right about this situation. You need to get up here and, see about this. Yeah, I think the parents are here, but I think they're allowing stuff that it shouldn't be allowed with their little 5-year-old child out there, right? 4-year-old, whatever, Summer would have been, at that time, he said it was a few weeks before she went missing, though. So she probably would have been 5 at the time. And what the hell would you be out in a pool a few weeks before she went missing? Why would she be outside in a pool? Because you don't even put your kids in swimming pools. You don't even set the pools up or open the pools up until, about, early June, mid-June. And then the kids, because it ain't really hot enough to be opening up a pool before June. You still got some pretty cold weather, too chilly for kids to be in a pool. I mean, you don't want your kids to be sick. So, or get sick. In Tennessee, Tennessee, it gets pretty chilly down in there, and they get some pretty strong winds. So my question is, what was, a few weeks before she went missing? That would have been like in May. That would have been like in May. And it was, in Tennessee in May, it was, down in the what? Close to 60s, early 70s, mid 70s. It's not, it's not like 80 or 90 degrees. So it would have been, that I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding that, you know, don't make no sense to me. He said a few weeks, which would have definitely put it in May, because she disappeared at June 15, 2021, which is only 2 weeks into the month. And he said it was a few weeks before. That would have been about the middle of May. Who sets up a pool for people to play in? Who sets a pool up mother freaking in May? I mean, May is usually when, you're calling, you're calling to have your pool, maintenance and cleaned and getting ready for the summer to start. You're not, the pool isn't, going to be open for anyone to swim in. It's just going to be ready, when they want to swim in it. That's what I'm not understanding. Hey, C, how you doing? Good evening, PG and chat. Justice for Summer Moon, Utah. Amen. Absolutely. Hey, Davis, I appreciate it. Super sticker. All right. I appreciate that. God bless. Absolutely. I appreciate your support for Summer's channel. Look at Brittany's daughter in here talking trash. I'm not even going to address this tonight. I'm not going to address it. You just got to steel toe boot Brittany's daughter in the place that you belong. And, I'm sad that you come in here, acting like that, but I refuse to let the devil get on my back tonight. I turned over a new leaf. Once upon a time, I'd have had a couple of things to say to you, but I ain't got nothing to say to you anymore. Other than, God bless you. I hope you actually find God. I hope you find Jesus Christ. I hope you get your life right. Because if you don't, you're going to end up, you got a heaven to gain, a hell to shun. And yes, it's my responsibility to tell you. I have to tell you. What you do with it is your own business. But I am required to tell evil people that you got a heaven to gain, a hell to shun. And the only way to gain heaven is to change your evil way and find Jesus Christ, and through him you can get eternal life with God Almighty. There's only one way to God, and that's through his son. So, I'm not going to return evil for evil. My Bible says don't do that. I'm not going to do it. That ain't happening over here anymore. And honestly, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you. That's the truth. I hope I hope you change your ways. Hope you become a better person in this life. God bless you. God bless you. Why anyone would put Summer's army down? I have no idea why evil people do what they do. And I'm not going to try to ever understand it again. Once upon a time, I really tried. I had a need to try to understand, what makes these people tick, right? What causes these people to be evil? I had a real need to try to understand them. But I'm going to tell you something. God let me know that I won't ever understand them because I'm not like them. You have to be like them to understand them. And I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that, So absolutely, I'm not even going to try, um, you know, to understand evil. What you try to understand, you know, there is fear of becoming, and I don't want to deal with that. Hey, oh wow, Angel, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, girl. Thank you, Peachy. I enjoy your on CLL today. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I went up on a panel with Brooks, and I also was at Smalley's. I was at Smalley's for a minute today too. I just wanted to get a chance. I had a little free time today, and I wanted a opportunity to, visit up the other channels and say hi and see how they were, how they've been doing and everything. And Brooks was really, really sweet. She's a sweetheart, really kind, and I really appreciated her, let me come up and spend some time with her today. And I appreciate Smiley, having me in her chat and treating me with, love, kindness, and respect. Something that's very hard to find these days. Um, and it was very, very enjoyable to spend some time with, with people you love, right? People you care about. So it was amazing. Yeah, yeah. Brooks is absolutely a sweetheart, and so is Smiley. I love Smiley. Um, she's got Smiley. She's got that real motherly way about her, right? She's got a real motherly way about her, and you know, she's just so sweet, so kind, so caring. Yeah, yeah. I had fun. I had fun with Brooks. Brooks makes me laugh. She's full of life. She's full of life, and she makes me laugh. It was a lot of fun being there. Oh yeah, yes they do. Yes they do. Um, Smiley's been on my mind. I stopped by hers because she's really been on my mind here lately. I don't know why. I don't know why, but she has, and I just wanted to stop in, and say hello and check up on her and make sure everything's good and but she's been on my mind, you know, and I pray for her. I pray for her. I don't know if anything's going on or not, but you know, the Lord's put her on my mind, and then I thought I'd pop in and see how she was doing. But anyway, I get back to Fred and Laura and Summer's case. But yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, you absolutely, you are both so much alike and so different. I like you both a lot. That's true. I think we are. I think we are kind of. We both talk a lot, right? We both talk a lot. That's true. We are different. We are different, but similar. That I have to admit that. Yeah, yeah. We all should support each other out here. I'm sure that's what God wants. We're all here for the same reasons. The missing kids, and we should support each other. I mean, it should be a community of love, and no hate. You know, um, we should learn how to all come together as one. Because this is a very good cause to be out here for. This is a great cause to be out here, and I do not, I do not regret 1 second, 1 second of what how much time I've spent doing what we do for these kids. I don't regret 1 second of it. I'd do it all again because these kids rely on us. They rely on us. Every last one of us. They don't just rely on the creator up here. They rely on all of you. You are all voices for these missing children. And the creators, we can't do it without you. We can't do it without you. Every voice makes a difference. And the more voices we have, the more power we got to help these kids. We need all the voices we can get, and that's the truth. That's the absolute truth. But I heard Cher and Ziggy had a little outsy. Is that true? Put a one in the chat if anyone knows. I heard they had a little outsy. I heard Ziggy was saying some real profanity about, Cher and Don Wells and Andy Bernard and right. Yeah, that's what I heard. And supposedly it was Andy Ryan and Don Wells. I heard that supposedly she said, hold on just 1 second, you guys. Okay. I'm sorry about that, you guys. Yeah, I believe that too. I believe that too, Carrie. I believe that. Um, hey, God bless. God bless, Jan. God bless. Um, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely, Deputy Sheriff. I think so too. I think so too. No doubt, no doubt. Um, but I heard Fred wouldn't take it. I guess they had an outsy over Fred, not wanting to do the baseline, the lie detectors test baseline, um, where they asked you, uh, is your name something different? And you're like, uh, yes. And then it shows because your name's not that, is your name, you know, Jingleheimer Smith. And, you're supposed to say yes. And that way it gives them a baseline of your lying. And Fred don't want to do that. He don't want to give them the baseline they need to know if the test is coming out right or not. So, with that being said, I guess, there's this problem and going on. And then I guess Don B tried to get Fred's test results and wasn't able to require them for some reason. I understand. And I guess Fred would have to, be the one to get, to um, ask for the results. Yeah, or you have to have his permission to get it or something. I'm not sure. Um, you're right. She was supposed to. She was supposed to be 4. Yeah, right. She was warning Billy Joe. She was warning Billy Joe about us. And yeah, look what she did to her, right? Um, I you know I don't know. You know, I stay away from that hell cell over there. I just try to stay away from places that look like Satan needs to be there instead of real human beings. And that's not for me. If it looks all creepy and weird like that, it probably is. And I just my Bible tells me to go around, to go the opposite direction of these people. And that's what I do, when it comes to these people who are like Cher and I don't get into that woo woo stuff. I don't get in. I don't want nothing to do with it. I do not want anything to do with it. You know, like I said, I've got a heaven to gain, a hell to shun, and I'm not going to be turning in. I'm not going to be turning in to cesspools where you know you're probably going to end up in Hades if you're caught in there. So that's not for me. But anyhow, um, I heard her and Ziggy had outsies. I heard that she said that Ziggy stated that Cher was, writing, you know, um, three guys, Donald, Andy Bernard, and Ryan's, you know, um, you know, the no-nos places. And that was just, whoa, that was too graphic. That was too graphic. And, but it's probably how she truly feels, might be how she truly feels. I don't know. Um, or maybe, she just is trying to divert, the attention away from, you know, the real thing here at hand. And that is, Fred supposedly agreeing to take a lie detector's test that he now is, backing out of. Um, Maybe because he knows he can't pass it, right? I don't think Fred wants to talk about, none of them people up there on Ben Hill Road, are eager like Don Wells. The stipulation of going on Dr. Phil's was no lie detectors test. That was the stipulation. No lie detectors test. Don't even ask for them. And, and that's the only reason him and Candace went. Because, they were guaranteed no lie detectors test being done. And to me, that's the same as admitting you're damn guilty. That's the same. If you're refusing to take a lie detectors test, to me, that's the same because it doesn't hold up in the court of law. I mean, it cannot be presented in a court of law as, evidence or anything to get you, prosecuted up or anything else. Um, it's just a test, and no matter how it comes out, it's useless. It's useless in the court of law. So why wouldn't you take it? Why would you refuse, to take the test? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, like, as for Jody Sue, take Jody Sue for instance. I can understand on Jody Sue refusing to take a lie detectors test because, she has a bunch of issues where it may read wrong. She has a health wise. She, what I'm saying is because they go off, they go off of, your pulse rates and everything. And, so, for her, I would say, okay, I can understand that because, it, who knows what, I mean, the machine might start smoking with her, right? Because she's real, hyper and everything anyway. And then on top of, all of the issues she deals with, she just, wouldn't be a good candidate because, it might like come out she's straight lying even if she was telling the truth or something. Because she's so high strung and all the stuff going on with her. So I understand that. But I don't understand like Andy. I don't understand Don Wells. I don't understand Candace. I don't understand, Fred Hill. I don't understand Laura. I don't understand Chad Orange. These are people, that they ain't got those type of issues. They ain't got none of this stuff going on. So, I can't, really exclude them from, from doing a test like that. Because, I could say, well, Candace, has some issues as well, but she don't because she didn't ever need any batteries or anything. So her whatever if she really does, if Candace really does have the pacemaker, well, it must have been put in on needed. It obviously wasn't needed in the first place because it hasn't been working in many, many years. So therefore, that means that there's nothing wrong with her. There's nothing wrong with her. So she could, she's a perfect candidate for a lie detectors test. That's what I'm trying to say. So I can't even, I can't exclude her at all. Right? But, you know, don't say you'll do something and then back out of it. Don't say, yeah, oh yeah, I'll take a lie detectors test and then at the last minute, no, you know, because to my understanding, it was about to be all paid for and set up and, ready to be done. And I heard that, there was, some outsies, some outsies going on after this. So I don't know. I guess that's correct. I guess that is correct. That they're not going to do it. Yes. You know. And Andy, I guess, went running over to a few people, channel saying, you know, tell them that I'm innocent. Tell them that I'm innocent. You know, Andy, take the lie detectors test. Take the damn lie detectors test, right? And prove your innocence. Call Dr. Phil up and say, hey, I've had 4 years of nothing but nightmares from Summer Moon Utah Wells case. And I want to come on your show and I want to take a lie detectors test to prove that I had nothing to do with anything that went on June 15, 2021 to this little girl who is missing and cannot be found. I want a lie detectors test. I want cleared out of this case. You brought the parents on. Bring me on. And I'm sure, because Dr. Phil's back, he's post-retired like 10 times, but he hasn't retired yet. He's still on. So I'm sure that he would have no problem, bringing you forth and doing whatever need to clear you. You could be cleared. And there's other shows that you can contact, and they too will bring you on, right? So, I say go for it. Go for it. Get hooked up with one of those talk shows and go there, free vacation, free. They pay all expenses. They fly you out there, they set you up in a hotel, they pay for everything, the best accommodations, and I mean, just see it as a mini vacation and a way to clear yourself. And and take your new wife with you, and when you guys get back, there you go. There you go. Everybody will be watching Andy, and everybody will see you get cleared, and these are professionals. These are absolute professionals. That that is it's absolutely professionals that are handling these tests and everything. And if they say, hey, you're clear, you're clear. Hey, 2734. I appreciate that. God bless. Super sticker. All right. God bless. I appreciate it. You know, and he'll be all cleared. Andy'll be all cleared and everything, Beautiful. It'll be beautiful. Go on to Steve Wilco. Go to Steve Wilco, Andy. If he lets you sit down in the chair, man, if he lets you sit in the chair, everybody be like, Fred's lying. Andy's all good. He's all good, you know. And while you're there, tell him that you need to be cleared, that you wasn't the last one to see Summer, on my body. They'll ask you, Andy, were you the last one to see Summer's online body? You just say no. They'll say, Andy, was you going across the road giving or selling anything to Candace Wells to sedate not just Summer, but other little girls, like Jody Sue said? You'll say no. Did you have anything to do with Summer Wells coming up missing? You just say no. They'll say, did you, on live Summer Wells? You'll say no. They'll say, do you know who did? You say no, right? Did you see anyone doing anything to this little girl or online? You just say no. I mean, they just asked you a few questions. Was you on Ben Hill Road on June 15th, 2021, meeting up with suspicious vehicles? At the appointed time, Fred Hill says you were there. You just say no. You be cleared of everything. You be cleared of it all, right? And everybody can say, well, Jody Sue lied on Andy. Fred Hill lied on Andy. Andy's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He did nothing wrong, right? Go take that lie detector's test. Don't wait for Cher or some YouTuber to set it up with at some bogus place. Go on one of those talk shows. Take yourself a vacation on one of those talk shows and get yourself cleared. Right? And then people will, leave you alone. They will leave you alone. You'll get treated with the respect that you deserve. If you had nothing to do with all of this, you'll get treated with the utmost respect you deserve. And Jody Sue, she'll get shut down just like you want her to. She'll get shut down because nobody will want to hear Jody Sue after you clear yourself like that. Nobody will no longer want to hear Jody Sue calling you a monster. She'll have nothing to talk about. So, go do it, Andy. That's my suggestions, right? Set it up and get it done. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. They're looking for people to be on the show all the time. And then and once you do come back and say, next, you go do it, Fred. You go do it. It's your turn. Don Wells, go take a lie detector. You go to Steve Wilco, Don Wells. You promised you would, but you're not. Right? Tell Can's ass to get to Steve Wilco. See if they'll let her sit in a chair. And take Grandis with her. Take Grandis with her. Take Hunter with her. Right? Let's see these people get cleared. Because I'm going to tell you now, Steve Wilco's got the best. He's got professionals in there taking them lie detectors tests. You tell a lie. If you're lying, oh man, that machine be like beep, beep, it'd be going, they could hear it probably all over. They probably hear it all over the audience. Like, lie, lie. Yeah. You ain't gonna get away with that. Right. They all cowards. They're all cowards. I'm gonna tell you what, if somebody put me through 4 years of hell on a 5-year-old little girl's missing case, if somebody put me through 4 years of hell accusing me of, doing all these sinister things like they have Andy, oh hell yeah. I'm gonna tell you what, I'd already been on one of those talk shows. I'd have took those lie detectors tests, and I would have already been back saying, now it's your turn. Now it's your turn. You want to run your face on me? No. You get yourself, don't ever have my name in your mouth again, right? Ever. That's what I would have done. I would have been out here getting the rural treatment and the respect and everything that I deserve. Because I wouldn't allow this. I wouldn't allow this. I wouldn't put up with this shit. Not even for 5 minutes. I don't. But these people's lying. Right? So would I, Carolina. So would I, girlfriend. But let's listen. I got Laura. I want to play out to you guys tonight. This is before. Fred Hill threatened her. This is me and Laura talking before Fred threatened her. And then I'm going to play you a video of after he threatened her.
Yeah, you shot in the wall.
So you lost your kids because Fred
Yes.
shot the gun through the wall.
Because Fred's sister come in and had her pistol out, and they was arguing, and Fred shot through the wall so it could scare her away.
Oh my Lord. And that's when you lost your kids?
Actually, the day after I lost my kids.
How old was they?
My daughters were 13 and 14, and my little boy was a year old, and my little girl was, my and Fred's little girl together was 6.
Oh, wow.
She was in kindergarten.
And you ain't seen your kids since?
I've seen my girls, but I ain't seen my little boy since he was a year old.
Oh, wow. Did your little boy go to your family, or they adopt? Yeah. He's with your family too?
But they won't let me see him.
Wow. So Fred wasn't willing to straighten up, and
but actually, they wouldn't let me see him while I was with Fred.
How is Fred now? What do you think Ziggy's got on her hands?
Got a handful of. He's not nothing like he tries to put out there. I'll just tell you that much.
Do you think that Cotton had anything to do with what happened to Summer? Do you think Fred's telling the truth when it comes to Summer's
said
case?
Something to Fred, but I don't know what he said.
And then Cotton ended up dead?
Yep.
Oh, wow. What he said to Fred, was it about Summer's case? Do you know if it was about Summer's case or not?
Fred come in and said something that he told him something about Summer, but he didn't tell me the details. He said I didn't need to know because I didn't need to be in the middle of it.
Oh, Lord. Wow. And do you know if law enforcement... Do you know if law enforcement really gave him a lie detector's test about Cotton's, about whether he had anything to do with Cotton's death or not?
I think they did, because I think they thought that Fred done it.
Oh, wow. There you go. Because they thought that Fred done it. And she sounded like she thought so too. Fred did follow him. He did follow him.
He knows I'm a boss bitch.
Do you think that he still loves you?
Oh, yeah. He loves me till the day I die. But that ain't saying much.
Do you think that him and Ziggy's going to last?
About as long as this case is going to last. When this case is done, they're done. She will be so over it.
Oh, so you believe she's only...
I think it's just all fucking for the show. I think it's just all for the show.
You think she's only looking for the information and...
I think she's just using him.
To write out. Why the hell would she marry him to use him?
And if she found anything, and I feel like too that if she found anything bad about him, that she would use it against him.
Right. And there's a lot she could use if she found out too. To my understanding. There's here's to my understandings. Because you made a statement that if Fred trusted Ziggy and tells her some things, he could end up back in prison.
He's gonna keep on till she ends up using something and it ends up biting him in the ass.
Right.
I mean, it's not got nothing to do with this case or Summer Wells case, but there's only so many times they're gonna let you get by with saying that you've done this. You've done this. You're rubbing that shit in their face. You get what I'm saying?
What has he done?
The same thing he got caught for.
Meth?
But how long has he been getting away with it? That's what I mean.
Oh, so he's done it again since he's been out?
No, not since he's been out. I'm talking about before. How many years?
That he did it.
Yeah, it's not.
And
It's been a minute, and
why would they think that Fred had something to do with what happened to Cotton?
Now that one I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. Do you hear? This is after Fred talked to her. After Fred threatened her. You hear, I don't know. I don't know. Right? To do with Cotton's death or not?
I think they did. Because I think they thought that Fred done it.
That's before. That's before he threatened her. That was before. What you just heard was after. There you go. There you go. You know, Fred puts the fear. He puts the fear in these people. And if he ain't got nothing to hide, if he has nothing to hide, you know, in all of this, then, you know, then why is he threatening people to shut up? Why is he threatening people to be quiet? And I also found out that it was the same day, with the very same day Cotton was on live, that him and Fred had the conversation about Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Yeah, absolutely. It was the same day that Fred followed. The same day Fred said he followed Cotton is the exact same day that they had that conversation that he had the conversation with Laura. Right? All right, Peachy's little girl. Hey, you drive careful, girlfriend. Yeah. Be safe. But yeah. Right there, you know, you heard her. Right there, you heard her, you know. Because they believe he done it. They believe he done it. And she's talking like she believed it too. Matter of fact, kind of like she knew it. If, you know, in my opinion. Did Don Wells, Don Wells is, and Candace both, they're adamantly saying, we don't know Cotton Simpson. We don't know this guy. We ain't never seen this guy. We know nothing about this guy. Is that true?
Well, I do know that Cotton, the last time I spoke to him, he was talking about being up at 110 the day Summer went missing. and he's talking about sleeping with mother and daughter. He didn't say whether it was Candace and Grandis or Summer and Candace.
Right.
That's what kind of confused me, you know. He didn't specifically say exactly which one.
Do you remember that right after Summer's disappearance that Don and Candace and all of them, they was acting really... Grandis ran the hell out of there. Andy Bernard ran the hell out of there.
Well, see, the law enforcement made Grandis leave because she's not allowed around children, period.
Well,
I do know that.
There was no children. They took the boys and Summer was missing. There was no children. So...
Well, she didn't come, see, she left and then come back after the boys was took.
Right. She took off. Actually, Grandis took the hell out of there after the boys were taken. And Andy Bernard, I don't know which one of them got out of there the fastest because Grandis went first. Andy went right after Grandis. Jody Sue went right after Andy. And the funny thing is right there after Cotton Simpson came up unalived, Cotton Simpson had quite a bit of money on him. He had just barely done... Was he at your house the day?
Yeah.
He was there
the day before.
The day before he ended up dead, or the very day?
The day before.
He was at your home.
Yeah.
But he wasn't...
The evening before.
He wasn't...
Not the day that they found him. No, I didn't know nothing about they even found him. And Marvin Simpson had told me that they had found him. That he told me that Betty Jo Simpson had called him and told him that they had found cotton and stuff, and that he had a big gash in his back of his head and stuff. That's why they give me a polygraph, because they hadn't released that he had a gash in the back of his head. And the only reason I knew is because she had told Marvin and Marvin had told me.
Put a 1 in the chat if you're taking notes that Fred is trying to protect Marvin as much as he's trying to protect himself. Did you notice how he said the only reason I knew is because Billy Joe told Marvin and Marvin told me? You don't know if Billy Joe told Marvin anything. You have no idea that, Billy Joe has anything to... What you do know, Fred, is Marvin told you that if indeed Marvin did tell you that, that Cotton had a gash, then that's all you know. All you know is Marvin told you about the gash. Billy Joe didn't tell you about no gash. Marvin said Billy Joe told him, from what you're saying, but you don't know if that's true or not. The one that really told you, that really gave you the information that caused you to have to take a lie detector's test was Marvin. Oh, but that's right. How can Marvin have done that when he was with you, Fred? He was with you, supposedly hanging at your house, working for you, hanging with you, following Cotton in your vehicle, at the very time Cotton, became unalived. He was with you. Marvin was with you. So if Marvin knew about the gash, then, Fred would have had to know about the gash as well, right? That's my opinion. But Fred, he's protecting Marvin by saying that this woman, it's a fact. It's fact that this woman told Marvin. And that's how Marvin knew. And Marvin told Fred, and that's how Fred knew. Fred's trying to get him and Marvin, out of it all together and put it on somebody else. You know, a woman, on top of it all, a woman, right? And I'm going to tell you now, there ain't no woman going to overpower this big old man, especially a big old man that's already been at Fred's house doing, you know, the one thing I know about illegal substances is I'm going to tell you what, they make a person uncontrollable. I mean, these people that get on that stuff, they got strength. They got strength that you don't even know where it's coming from, right? I mean, there are like, I don't know if any of you have ever seen someone, you know, on this stuff, but I'm going to tell you what, they're very dangerous. They're very, very strong. They're very strong. It's like they got strength that came out of nowhere because, you know, their mind, body, and soul is numb. They're just giving it all to you. And if you go at them, if you know, provoke them in any way and they come at you, you're going to have a real problem. You're going to have a problem that you don't want, you know, you don't want no part of, is what I'm saying. You know, that's why law enforcement, you know, they stand off from these people. They stand ready, you know, and they always, you know, if you got somebody that's on that illegal stuff, you always call for backup because you might not be able to take them down on your own. They may be a little too much for you, you know. And law enforcement knows this because they deal with them all the time. Well, you know, yeah, exactly. Some of them do have them issues. Exactly, Amanda. And I'll tell you what, even, you know, even if, you know, even if they're not, you know, not mentally, have mental issues, you know, and they can become, you know, anybody can become, you know, psychotic if someone's coming at them trying to destroy them, right? I mean, you're going to do everything you can to save your life. And, you know, and I don't think no woman, this is my opinion, I do not think that this Billy Joe lady, which is an older woman, a very older woman, I just do not think she would be able to take a man down as big as Cotton. I don't believe that. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. I don't believe that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm going to tell you now, Cotton worked. He was a worker. He worked his whole life, you know, using his strength. And you know, I mean, he wasn't no sit around, you know, let his body go down. This was a guy that was, you know, I mean, all his life he was hiking up the, you know, he was using his muscles. This guy was using every muscle in his body all the time. So he had a lot of strength. Trust me. And they ain't no little old lady going to go out there and you know, take this guy out. And he, you know, and if she took him out somewhere else, this little old lady ain't going to be able to, you know, she ain't going to be able to pick him up and just go, you know, drop him off of the side of the hill, right? She ain't going to be able to do that. That's mother freaking insane. You're going to see drag marks. You're going to see heel prints, footprints, drag marks. I mean, it would have took her all night. It would have took her all night. I mean, she would have had to, put him in something, and then she would have had to drag and drag, and they would have been able to see where, where all that shit was going down. You ain't gonna cover that up. Hell no. I mean, no. But I'm gonna tell you what. Three people like, Fred and Marvin and Laura. Oh, they could have done what was done, right? They could have easily did what was done. Absolutely. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Because I agree. They could have easily, I'm not saying they did it. I'm saying that they could have easily have done it. Right? And that's the truth. That's the truth right there. And I hate to say this, but in my opinion, all freaking three of them is capable of doing it too. I think all three of them are capable of committing a crime like that. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. But I'm going to tell you what. I find it awful suspicious that Cotton goes to Fred's house that day. He tells Cotton something about Summer Moon Utah Wells, right? And Fred tells Laura that Cotton told her something about Summer, that Cotton was talking about Summer. That very day that Cotton ended up on a light. And Fred and supposedly this Marvin follows Cotton, right? Impossible. And if Marvin and Fred's following, then Laura's probably in the vehicle as well. She's probably in the vehicle as well. But let's go back here to Laura. Oh wow. Right here. Really gave him a lie detector's test about Cotton's about whether he had anything to do with Cotton's death or not.
I think they did. Because I think they thought that Fred done it.
Summer's case. Do you know if it was about Summer's case or not? Right here. Right here.
Cotton said something to Fred, but I don't know what he said.
And then Cotton ended up dead.
Yep.
To
Cotton
Summer's
said
case.
something to Fred, but I don't know what he said.
And then Cotton ended up dead.
Yep.
Oh wow. Hands.
Tell him for us.
I mean,
He's not nothing like he tries to put out there. I'll just tell you that much.
do you think that Cotton had anything to do with what happened to Summer? I mean, do you think Fred's telling the truth when it comes to Summer's
said
case?
Something to Fred, but I don't know what he said.
And then Cotton ended up dead.
Yep.
Oh wow. What he said to Fred, was it about Summer's case? Do you know if it was about Summer's case or not?
Fred come in and said something that he told him something about Summer, but he didn't tell me the details. He said I didn't need to know because I didn't need to be in the middle of it.
Oh Lord. Wow. And do you know if law enforcement...
He's protecting me.
He said he was protecting me. And do you know if law enforcement...
He's protecting me.
Wow. And do you know if law enforcement...
He's protecting me.
There you go. There you go. What more do you need than that? Right? What more do we need than that right there. Cotton goes to Fred's house. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of cigarettes. And he confronts Fred about about Summer's case. Cotton confronts Fred about Summer's case. And then Fred and this Marvin guy, and possibly Laura, sorry about that, you guys. That call came out of nowhere. Yeah. But anyway, all three, possibly, we know for sure, Fred and Marvin follows Cotton. We know for sure that Cotton's found the next morning on a lot. Money gone, cigarettes gone, he's on a lot. We know for sure that Fred's blaming it on a woman. He's blaming it on a woman. Why? Why? Because he ain't got enough ass to try to blame it on a man. Them guys around there, them guys around there, nobody's scared of Fred. And them guys around there are tired of having stuff blamed on them. They're like, one more thing gets blamed on us that we didn't do, it's not going to be good. So, Fred blames it on a woman. What can she do? What can a little woman do? She can't do nothing but take it. Right? She can't do nothing but take it. It's a coward's move. A coward's move on Fred's part.
Right. And that's the only reason I knew,
Right. And hold on, I'm trying to find out exactly when Cotton passed away.
Best I remember, it was, I want to say February the 14th or something. Of 2023, maybe. I'm not for sure. Seemed like that's what date I remember somebody saying. I'm not for sure.
February the 14th, 2023, exactly.
But see, Cotton used to work at Warriors Path up there as a maintenance before, a few years before Summer went missing and stuff.
And he came out on disability.
Yeah.
And he was getting quite a bit of money. He had been in jail for 6 months, and that money had piled up in his bank account, which would have come to around $18,000. It's what he would have had in his bank. And when he was at your house, and then the following morning he was found dead.
The next day, sometime the next day, I don't know what time.
He was found dead.
They said some hikers had found him or something.
Right, the next morning. And Don and Candace, he said he was up there. Now, could he have left your house and stopped by the Wells house?
No, because me and Marvin actually had followed him and stuff to the top of the mountain, and we turned around that top of the mountain at the Mountain View at the stop sign, because when he was at my house, he was wanting to buy a boat and stuff, and I was in partners with somebody else on the boat, and I told
Cotton retired. Cotton retired. I'm going to tell you, listen to what Fred says, because Fred wants you to believe that Cotton was getting a disability check. No, he wasn't. Fred Hill gets a disability check, not Cotton. Cotton retired from Warriors. I believe it was Warriors. From the horse pond, from Warriors Path. Yes, he did. He actually retired from where Hunter and Candace and them went that day on the 15th. Cotton retired from this place. He worked and he retired out of there. Fred is the one getting disability, not Cotton. Cotton actually retired. And this Billy Joe, or this lady that Fred's talking about, you're going to hear him say some awful things about her as well.
I couldn't really price it right then. I had to get with them and stuff to take and find out what they wanted for their part, you know. Right. And then he got to talking about he was worried about having money and stuff on him. And I don't know why he was talking about worried about getting robbed or whatever. But me and Marvin actually followed him we was trying to make sure he made it home or whatever. But once he got to the top of the mountain, instead of turning left to go to his house, he turns right and goes towards Betty Joe's. Because Betty Joe lives on that same right past.
Betty Joe, that's all he keeps talking about. He says bad stuff about her.
Where the cemetery and stuff where they found his vehicle.
Right.
And I thought, well, maybe he's going over there or something to hang out, you know, because he does go over there and hang out with them a lot.
Right. So you didn't follow him no further. You guys just went back to the house.
Yeah.
And the next morning he was found over there dead.
Yeah, I didn't find out till like 4 o'clock or something the next day. I think it was around 4 o'clock that Marvin had come and had mentioned it.
Now, did Don Wells, Don Wells is, and Candace both, they're adamantly saying, we don't know Cotton Simpson. We don't know this guy. We ain't never seen this guy. We know nothing about this guy. Is that true?
Well, I do know that Cotton, the last time I spoke to him, he was talking about being up at 110 the day Summer went missing. And he's talking about sleeping with mother and daughter. He didn't say whether it was Candace and Grandis or Summer and Candace.
Right.
That's what kind of confused me, you know. He didn't specifically say exactly which one.
Now Fred is alluding. Put a one in the chat if you find it real strange that Fred Hill is constantly alluding to these men like Jody Sue's son, Cotton. Do you find it funny that he's always alluding that these men are, doing something with Summer? I find it very strange that, he keeps alluding to, to these men, essaying this 5-year-old little girl. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. And when he talks about it, it's like, when he talks about it, it's no disgust in his voice. There's no disgust. It's like, it's to him, it's, the way he talks, it's like a natural thing, like, hey, I don't know if it was Grandma and Candace or Candace and, another of age person, No, you're talking about Candace and a 5-year-old little girl. So why is he talking? Why is he talking like this is normal? It's kind of mother freaking disturbing to me, to say the least. You know? It's very disturbing. Where in the hell is these people's morals? Where is their self-respect? Where is everyday common sense? Where in the hell is their kindness, their caring, their love, their mercy? What is wrong with these people? Because they are not, none of them are normal. They're not normal. Do you remember that right after Summer's disappearance that Don and Candace and all of them, they was acting really, Grandis ran the hell out of there. Andy Bernard ran the hell out of there.
Well, see, the law enforcement made Grandis leave because she's not allowed around children, period.
And that's not true. Grandis didn't leave till after the boys were gone, Fred. Didn't leave till after. And you know, Fred says he wasn't ever hardly up there. He really didn't know these people. Well, it sounds like he knows these people pretty damn well, if you ask me. Pretty damn well. But Cotton was found inside Laurel Run Park. Do you think he could have been trying to get up to the waterfall? That's
what me and Marvin had thought. You know, once we got to thinking about it more, why would he be down in there? By him being at the house the day before and stuff, and talking about was supposed to be in a cave. Could someone
had made him go to where Summer was?
I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so, but
I mean, I
just feel like he had it on his mind and stuff, maybe, and was maybe going to go and check and see if she was still there or something.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you see? Put a one in the chat if you noticed his nervousness when he said, "I don't think so." You know, like it's like I tapped on the truth. Listen to this again. And trying to get up to the waterfall.
That's what me and Marvin had thought. You know, once we got to thinking about it more, why would he be down in there? By him being at the house the day before and stuff, and talking about was supposed to be in a cave. Could
someone had made him go to where Summer was?
I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so, but
I mean, I
just feel like he had it on his mind and stuff, maybe, and was maybe going to go and check and see if she was still there or something.
I just thought he had it on his mind and was going to go and check if she was still there. Like, wait a minute. How would you even know she is there, Fred? All right. How would you? I mean, I wouldn't have thought he had it on his mind going to check if Summer's still in a damn cave, because I wouldn't think that he had Summer in a cave, to be honest with you. I wouldn't think that he had Summer at all. You know, this ain't making no sense. It's not. Fred is, he got very disturbed when I said, could someone have, pressured him or made him? And he's like, I don't think so. As if he knew I was talking about him and Marvin, right? As if he, knew who I was talking about. And, at that point, it became personal. It became personal. Why would it become personal if you had nothing to do with anything in the Summer Moon Utah Wells case? Why would that, that question all of a sudden become personal? I'm going to tell you, I truly think that I don't think that Laura and Fred went anywhere on June 15, 2021. I think Fred and Laura was right there at Fred's house the whole day. I think the only time Fred tried to go out of there is when law enforcement turned his ass around and sent him back to his house, because he wasn't ever seen coming in Ben Hill Road from nowhere. And that came from searchers, people who were there searching, watching that road, staring at that road. And they know, like they said, you couldn't miss Fred. Everybody knows Fred. Nobody's seen him come in, during that time. But he was spotted trying to go out. He was spotted trying to go out and got turned around by law enforcement and sent back to his house. So that tells us that they probably wasn't out that day. They was right down there. When Chad Arnold was meeting up with Candace, Fred was there. Fred puts cotton on Ben Hill Road, June 15, 2021. He puts cotton not just on Ben Hill Road, but up at the Wells house, up on Candace and there's property. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I don't think cotton was on Candace and Don's property at all. June 15, 2021. I think cotton was at Fred's house on June 15, 2021. And I think that he saw some stuff he wished he wouldn't have ever saw going on down there. Because he told his mother and he told his daughter that if anything happened to him, he wanted them to know that Fred Hill had Summer in a box. Now, Candace mentioned a black tote. And to someone like Cotton, that would be a box. Now, I don't know if the mother or the daughter was smart enough to ask him, hey, what kind of box? What color was the box? How big was the box? I'm not sure that they, would be able to get the necessary details, needed to turn over to law enforcement, right? I'm not sure. I mean, somebody tells you something, if someone comes to you and says, hey, if something happens to me, I need you to know this. You need to get full details. You need to get names. You need to get, the date, the time they saw it. You need to, get a full description of everything, step by step as it went down. And you need to write it down. And you need to, make copies of it and have it, where it will get in law enforcement's hands if something happens to you. Right? Because I truly believe with Marvin being the cousin of Cotton, Marvin knew that Cotton had told his mother because he heard it, through the family. You know how family talks. And he heard it, and he ran back to Fred and said, whoa, Cotton told his mom. Right? Cotton's talking. And here Cotton is, in jail, and his mom comes up unalived, just, out of the blue. 1 month before actually not even a month, about 2 weeks before Cotton gets out of jail, his mother ends up unalived. And as soon as Cotton gets out of jail, Fred and Marvin is following Cotton, and Cotton comes up unalived. And you plainly heard Laura say that on that day when Cotton was there, he was speaking to Fred about Summer Moon Utah Wells. And Fred says, you don't need to know what we were saying. I'm protecting you. And here Cotton comes, the next day, Cotton is found, unalived in Laurel Run Park. Put a 1 in the chat if you find that very damn suspicious. Because I sure do. I find it very suspicious that his mother ends up unalived 2 weeks before him. And he ends up unalived in a place that he knew like the back of his hand as soon as he gets out of jail and has a conversation with Fred about Summer's case. And Fred tells Laura, I'm protecting you. You don't need to know. Right? I'm going to tell you something. I think law enforcement, I think Hawkins County, Tennessee law enforcement, I think they need to get off their backsides and start doing some real damn investigation and start putting these evil people in prison. That's what I think they need to do. I think that they need to find a way to get the truth out of these people. They're supposed to be collecting evidence. And they're supposed to be collecting Laura saying that the very day that Cotton's there, him and Fred have an outsy over Summer Moon Utah Wells. And then Fred and his buddy follows Cotton, and Cotton is found the next day unalived. Now, if that ain't pertaining to Summer's case, with this guy's mother, suspiciously passing away a couple weeks before, I don't know what is. And Fred clearly did not pass the lie detector's test. when he was questioned about Cotton. He wouldn't give him the baseline to really truly know if he's lying or not, which, altered the test to what it was. Right? Exactly. Exactly. Oh, they all got a dog in this race. They have all got a dog in this race.
Me and Marvin know about.
Why is
But how does that is my question.
right? Why my question is, why did Cotton Simpson say to some people very close to him, which I have talked to, why are these people telling me that Cotton told them that if anything happened to him, he wanted them to know that you had Summer's head in a box? Why would he say that?
I wouldn't have no idea, to be honest about it.
And why would your sister come out and say that she found a big muddy bathroom with a little girl's t-shirt? And I mean, basically, alluding that you and Laura dug Summer up from somewhere. And why would your sister say things like this? Because your sister's talking to people behind the scenes as well. And, they were wanting me to talk with her, and I'd rather talk to you, which is first party. I'd like to get it from the person that's being accused of these things and give them the opportunity to say, hey, this is a reason or that's a reason, or, it's just bullshit. It didn't happen,
Yeah, it's just bullshit as far as I know.
So she didn't find, when she was up there,
Karen never had no key to. See, my parents didn't trust Karen at all. She never did have no key or nothing to the house. Right. See, she used 207 as my drug to take and store my drugs and stuff. I'm just being straight honest with you.
Right.
That work on vehicles and just junk and stuff, mostly at 207, but I actually lived at 165. That was my mailing address, my everything.
Right. And you lost one of them to taxes, right? Or did you lose all? You lost one of the properties to taxes, or did you lose all the property to taxes?
Just, see, my sister Karen signed a piece of paper as only executor over 165 and let it get sold and stuff. And she was lying to me and my other sister that it had been saved.
Now, see, did you see how he lied? See, what he told me was this lady didn't have keys to that address. But I already heard that his sister supposedly sold that property out from underneath his ass, right? And she can't sell something out from underneath his ass if she ain't got keys to it. But I also heard the story that, it was lost for taxes. So I decided to tell him, I heard you lost it for taxes, because I don't want to say, well, I heard she sold the property, and how could she sell the property if she don't have keys? I didn't want to go there. Because see, that's going to cause a shutdown. He at that point he knows his lie before that. That his lie that he had just told had been busted. And then he would watch what he's saying to me because, he's going to get the impression that I'm just there for information, against and not for. So, I said, didn't you lose that property for taxes? Did you lose all of them? Or, I wanted him to tell me what I already knew. That's the smart thing. And then, and then I'm like, yeah, right. So she did have keys to it, because you can't sell something that you don't got keys to, right? And this makes her story more legible and truth than his. Why you lying? Why you just say, hey, we're out, we work on cars and everything, we get dirty, that's where we resided, that's where we took our baths and everything. I guess the floor would be pretty damn muddy. It's probably, look how thin Laura is. Her shirts would look like a chow shirt, right? Her top would look like a chow's top. Laying in all that mud. It probably fell off. It probably hit the floor. It got in all that mud, and she just said to hell with it. Maybe we threw it down and used it to stand on it. Who knows? I mean, if you ain't got something to cover up, you ain't going to care to tell the truth about it, unless you do have something to cover up. Then you're going to try to, do what Fred's been doing so well. Make up a bunch of damn lies that just ain't holding water.
And stuff, and we didn't. Me and Ziggy's actually one that found out that she had went and sold it out, kind of.
From underneath you guys.
Yeah, me and my other sister, yeah.
And so, do you have any property inside of Ben Hill Road anymore?
Yeah, we still have 207, me and my sister does.
You and Karen, or you and the other sister?
Me and my other sister.
Okay, what does Karen have?
She ain't got nothing now.
Now watch him destroy Karen's character, just like he tried to destroy Cotton's character with metal plates and all this stuff, the same way he tries to, destroy the Spitty Joes, and, watch how he tries to destroy her character as well.
Where she sold the property of 167 and 165.
Oh, okay. So Karen lost everything.
No, Karen pocketed about 40-some thousand from the property at 165 and 7.
Where does Karen reside? Was she residing up there, or is she residing?
No, Karen never did come to the holler, hardly ever, once or twice, and probably, maybe 3 times before my parents and stuff passed away. From the time she got out of prison until then.
Okay.
She never come around anymore.
So Karen was in prison as well.
Yeah, she pulled time in prison for home invasions and drugs, selling drugs out of a gym that she was running in Gate City, and staging a crime scene where she had her son to do a home invasion, and stuff went south, and she took the crime scene from there back to her house and all kinds of shit.
Whoa. Karen, man, that Karen was real busy, right? Man, she was pulling crime scenes from one place clean back to her place. Right? Oh.
see, my sister actually killed her first husband for $375,000 life insurance, but she never was convicted of it or nothing.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. 375,000 life insurance. Right? Just she unlived her husband for $375,000 worth of life insurance. Why would she need to come up on Ben Hill Road and collect a measly 45,000? Right? Oh, so she got almost, she got over $300,000. She got pretty rich.
Yep.
And it must have not have did her a lot of good, because then she's back selling up the property on Ben Hill Road.
Well, see, she took that money and just blew through it on cocaine and a bunch of new vehicles and some property and stuff, and then ended up losing it all. I mean, dirty money don't get you nowheres in life. You'll lose 10 times more than you gain from it.
Boy, hasn't Fred learned that lesson well? You know, wow, kind of late, right? He's kind of late to the party, because, if you're a supplier, you can't be a user, right? The only way you're going to make money and stay safe is to not use, you can't use up the profit, right? You can't use it all up. If you want, the only way to become rich is, not to be using what you're selling. You can't use. You got to keep, for instance, if you have a towel company, right? And you're selling these beautiful towels, you're manufacturing them, making them, and you're selling them. Well, you can't be, taking all your profit home and handing it out at all the pool parties, right? Here's you a towel, here's you towels, here's you, give everybody, everybody free towels. Your business is going to go under. Your business is going to go under. You can't take all the towels, home and just use them as stowaways, throw it in the garbage, like, one dry and you're done. Before you know it, you're going to be out of business. You cannot. If you want to become rich, well, you cannot use what you manufacture and supply. That's just, that's common sense. It ain't how much you make, it's how much you save that counts, right? Now, Fred obviously knows nothing about financial gain. No. I don't know why people want to make dealers rich. I don't understand why people want to do drugs. It ain't the way to go.
Most people gets bored in their life and stuff, and things happening, and they just try to resort to drugs to kill their boredom and pain both,
Right, it numbs the pain. Yeah, mental trauma, the way you were raised, the way people treat you. Sure, I mean, if somebody's nasty and shitty to you when you're all hayed up and messed up, you don't really give a damn. You're like, who gives a F what you say? When you're sober, and people come at you all the time and so forth and so on, it can be a lot of trauma. But you know, you got to fight through that trauma in this life. You know, you got to stay sober and
A lot of people, because you get clean, life gets better. Really, it gets harder because you got to face everything, face reality as reality's dealt to you, instead of dulling it with all the drugs.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. When you're sober, I personally like to be, conscious of everything going on around me. I like to be sober all the time, and maybe I'm just a dizzy human being, but nothing.
I wouldn't trade my sobriety for anything now.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, I'm really proud of you, Fred. I'm proud of you being able to get off that
PG,
stuff.
I've come a long ways to get where I am today.
Oh yeah, you had to walk through hell, but you made it. You made it, and I would never turn back to that stuff. I mean, from time to
I'll never
time,
come back to it.
time to time, you're going to want to. And I meant that. I really meant that. I am proud. I am proud of Fred, being able to overcome, all of his substance abuse issues, if he has. There's other videos, that I'm going to be bringing out that lead me and probably will lead you to wonder, if, he truly is walking the righteous, clean path. But, at this particular conversation, and I'm playing you from the very start. I'm going to take you all the way down, we're going to follow the yellow brick road. Okay. Mr. Fred's yellow brick road. We're going to follow it. And, but down the yellow brick road, he said things that made me wonder, is this true right here? Is this true? Because at this point I had no reason to, suspect that he wasn't clean. But as the conversations progressed, which you will hear later because I want to play them A to Z, it made me wonder. Some of the things he said started to make me wonder, are you truly clean? Just saying. And,
I mean, days you wake up. I mean, there'll be days I wake up and stuff, and it's just like I've been on a binge,
right.
But that's just the way it is. You just got to deal with it.
Amen. Absolutely. You got to conquer it or to conquer you.
I've been clean 21 months now, and this is the first time I've been clean in probably 37 years.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. The one thing you have to do is, I think the best decision you ever made was getting away from Laura, because you can't be with someone.
See, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know, but Laura had more connections with the drugs than I did.
Right? Oh, I believe you. I talked to Laura on many, many occasions, and she was always somewhere where I could tell that there's people who I would not. Hey, little PG, I'm bringing you up. How you doing, girlfriend?
Doing good. Tired.
I hear that.
Yeah.
And that work can get you.
It does. And to train new ones, it gets worse. It's
Amen.
like just do it yourself after training them.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you. I haven't, had to train anybody new in a long time, but I do a lot of overtime. I work, I do a lot of overtime sometimes. And man, I'll tell you what, I would rather, girlfriend, I'd rather train people than, right, than to do that overtime. Right.
Yes.
It could get monstrous.
Been on the go since
Around
8:30.
me or associating with me at all, in the background of her.
Yeah, as soon as I went to jail, she started hanging out on Light Holler at Brandon Clark, where Brandon Clark and Pete and Glenda Head. See, Glenda Head used to be married to Cotton Simpson.
Right. Now, how many times was Cotton married? Do you know?
Oh, I don't really know. I know that Glenda had been married like 5 different times or something.
Because Cotton was married. Does this Glenda, is she the one that's got a daughter by Cotton?
I think she is. See, they live on Light Holler, right behind that little old log church where JLR went to, and Brandon and him had walked through the mountain back to Ben Hill.
Is this Glenda woman's mother still alive?
No.
Okay, her mother's passed away.
Yeah.
Was she Cotton's
Yeah,
last wife, or was she Cotton's?
She was close to one of his last wives, I guess. I'm a guessing. I really don't know. I couldn't be 100% on
I think his last wife's name was, started with an M. Megan. I know it starts with an M. His last wife that he had. Michelle. Michelle? Was her name Michelle?
I don't know. Be honest. Only one I know that really knew that was married to Cotton was Glenda.
Oh, okay. And
I didn't know the rest of them.
And how many years ago you say that?
Really not. I know of him, but I really didn't know Cotton. I hadn't spoke to Cotton maybe a couple times, different times in my life.
Lord, that is a lie. That is a lie.
Yep.
Cotton was up there at Fred's place quite a bit, for many years.
Yep.
So Fred is so freaking lying. And I actually talked to Glenda, and I'm going to tell you, she's a really nice lady. She's a real nice lady, a real kind person, and nothing like Fred's leading it to be. Absolutely not. Laura told me that Cotton used to come up there to your guys' place. I've actually talked to a couple of Cotton's wives, to be honest. I've talked to more than one of his wives. And I've even talked to the one that has his daughter, And both of these women are very good people. Very good, very kind, very caring, very good people. And one thing they agree on is Fred Hill is the one that they believe unlived Cotton Simpson.
Cotton.
And in my opinion, I agree too. I agree. I think so as well. Just saying. And like he'd come, maybe you guys wouldn't see him January, February, but then he'd show up in March. You might not see him for a month or so, and he'd show up again. And she said that after that little girl disappeared, came up missing, talking about Summer, that Cotton started coming to your house quite often, and he was becoming a bugaboo to you.
Well,
Not to her, but to Fred, she said.
I don't know of Cotton ever been there but twice, unless he come while I was gone.
Let's go back. Did you hear him when I told him what Laura said? Did you hear him say, yeah?
Yes,
Let's go back. Let's go back. Yeah. He said, yeah. It's true. He said, yeah. What?
Glenda.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know the rest of them.
And how many years ago you say that?
Really, I know of him, but I really didn't know Cotton. I hadn't spoke to Cotton maybe a couple times, different times in my life.
Laura told me that Cotton used to come up there to your guys' place. And like he'd come, maybe you guys wouldn't see him January, February, but then he'd show up in March. You might not see him for a month or so, and he'd show up again. And she said that after that little girl disappeared, came up missing, talking about Summer, that Cotton started coming to your house quite often, and he was becoming a bugaboo to you.
Well,
not to her, but to Fred, she said.
I don't know.
He said, yeah, right there, right there. What? That Cotton started coming to your house quite often, and he was becoming a bugaboo to you.
Well,
not to her, but to Fred, she said.
I don't.
He said, yeah. That's what he said.
He says, yeah.
He said, yeah. All right.
Boy, idiots get busted.
And then he tried to change it.
Yep.
I don't know of Cotton ever been there but twice, unless he come while I was gone or something when she was there.
Oh, she said he came to see you all the time and was becoming a problem for you.
I don't know nothing about that. I don't think that. She must be high or confused. Because only 2 times that he'd ever been to the house was Marvin Simpson brought him once, and then that was, I don't know, 6 months or something other. Well, I don't know exactly what date it was, but it was about 6 months that he had showed up again. And I plainly played Laura talking about how Cotton would show up with many different people, with Little Wayne and with this person and with that person. He's only been there twice. Bullshit, Fred. Bullshit. Laura told the truth. Laura told the truth because she had no reason not to. You're lying because you got all reason to lie. And supposedly just got out of jail. The last time he come, the second time, right, was when he come by himself that time. Right. But that's when he was talking about all that, and then they found him dead the next day or something. Now, when you guys followed him home, was he messed up? Was he like, had he been partying? Was he, He had been drinking, I think. So he was pretty messed up. I'd be honest with you, Stephanie, and put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Stephanie says he was probably there sleeping with Laura while Fred was gone. In my opinion, he could have done that without Fred being gone. In my opinion, it's just my opinion is what I believe. But I believe that, Laura's sleeping with other guys to get, money for her and Fred. It happened many times. That's just my opinion. Because guys like Fred, that's what they do with their women. That's why they want their women to be hooked on that shit just like they are.
so they can use them and abuse them for, for the extra stuff when they need it. That's just my opinion. I don't think Cotton would have had to, I don't think Fred would have had to been gone for that to be happening. I think Fred could have been right there, collecting the dough. Just saying.
But he wasn't really, not as I could tell, but you could tell he'd been drinking something.
Right. So basically, like Don and Candace.
Yeah. Everyday drinker,
Right.
from what I understand.
Now, why would they ask? Why would someone want me to ask you why, why would you guys move Cotton's car unless you knew he was dead? Why would someone ask a question like that?
Yeah, I don't know why they would ask that.
They also wanted me to ask you about Ricky Trent. Now, Ricky Trent, isn't he got an old lady, Paula?
I think her name is Paula or something like that.
And can you tell that he fucking knows their names? Do you see how he, he knows. He knows. He knows these people by name. He knows these people like the way he knows the back of his hand. Fred knew everybody. He made it his business to know everyone, because that's how he made his money, is by knowing everyone, right? Are you super sociable with them?
No, I've sold them a few drugs alone, but
so basically,
I met him. See, I met him through Pete Clark. I was at Jamie Cox's, and him and Pete Clark had pulled up, and Pete was asking for some drugs, and because that's mostly where I went to sell my drugs was. I hardly ever sold any in the holler. I'd always go out to most time do my dealings.
Right. So,
and I'd met him there a few times.
So basically, you didn't really know these people. You just knew of these people.
Yeah. But see, supposedly, from what I understand, that Cotton and Ricky Trent pulled time together in Hawkins County.
Oh, do tell.
And supposedly he had told Ricky pretty much the same thing he told me,
Right.
Is what Wade did talk.
Now, is it true that someone came up to your all's house and seen you and Laura smoking the brand of cigarettes Cotton smoked?
I'd never even seen Cotton even smoke a cigarette.
Oh. Oh, yes, he has. Cotton smoked, and Fred knows it.
I don't even know Cotton even smoked.
How long was Cotton at your house the night before he passed away, the day before he passed away? How long was he at your house?
Probably 15 minutes or so.
Was that late in the evening he shows up, or was it,
Seemed like it was around 12 or 1 o'clock in the day.
Oh, so it was the middle of the day he came to your house.
Yeah.
And he wasn't there the whole day.
No.
Oh.
No, he was just there a few minutes. Like 15, 20 minutes or something like that.
And you guys followed him in the middle of the day back to where he was going?
Yeah.
Wow. That's quite odd. And that is BS. That is BS, because there's witnesses that know that Cotton was at Fred's house for a long time that day, a long time. And witnesses that said they saw all the cigarettes in Cotton's car, and they seen also later saw Fred and Laura smoking those cigarettes. Same brand, same brand. Just saying, you guys. Why would he be afraid right in the middle of the broad daylight?
I don't know. That's what
He wasn't. He wasn't. It wasn't broad daylight.
didn't make sense to me either. And I told Marvin, I said, why it don't make sense why he acting so nervous and stuff about being robbed. He kept mentioning he's afraid he'd get robbed or something.
Now,
I said, well,
I know that there was, and I know. And there you go. Over on Ziggy's, he was just a few weeks ago, like just recently. He was at Ziggy's talking, because I heard it with my own ears. Yeah, with me own ears. And I tell you, if I don't hear it with me own ears, then I'll tell you. But when I hear it with me own ears, oh hell, it's true, baby. And I'm going to tell you something. I heard it, and he said over on Ziggy's that he was saying like, Cotton was up at my house like a couple weeks before they found him. And he didn't have no money. He was broke. He didn't have no money. No, Fred. A couple weeks before they found him, he just barely got out of jail when he came to your house. He was like one day out of jail. A couple of days before he would have been in jail. He had to have been at your house the same exact day as you said he was to me. That's when it was. He was at your place the very day you guys followed him, and the next morning he was found unalived.
Unalived.
He had just barely got out of jail. And he came to your place. He couldn't have been at your place days before or weeks before because he was in prison. There you go. Yeah. And they didn't even let him out to go to his mother's funeral. Fred. He didn't even get out to go to his mother's funeral. There you go.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you catch them in lies.
But I think his mother should have still been alive when he got out. Something don't sound right about this. His mom, mysteriously dies 2 weeks before he's out of jail. She just turned 70. Like very few people die at 50 or at 60 or at 70. Like 99.9% of people at least hit 61, 2. Usually they hit 2 or 4 or 8, and same way with the 70s. They usually at least make it to 74, 78, 82. It's very seldom they just hit that one mark. This shit, and like 2 weeks before he comes out, and then he gets it too, and he just happens to told his mother about Summer, what he saw, what he knew at Fred's place about Summer, about little Summer Wells. I'm telling you, ain't right? Ain't right. Know the names of these two people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't usually die on the 60, 70, 80 mark. You usually make it past that age. And then, you ain't here no more. I know there was two people who saw Cotton Simpson before he came to your house that day.
Yeah.
They know he was. See, he said yeah. He said yeah, like, yeah. Again, like he did before. He gassed up at a gas station. He got cigarettes and gassed up at this gas station before, and he basically told him where he was heading to your place.
Easy.
They say what vehicle he was driving?
Do you think? What did you say?
I said, did they say what vehicle he was driving when they seen him?
They didn't tell me that. I didn't ask, but I could.
Yeah.
The thing is well, they said the same
I mean,
vehicle.
that would tell me if
They
he
said-
went back to it or whatever.
They did tell me, they did say this. The same vehicle that was found parked was the vehicle he had at the gas station. That's what I was told.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever kind of vehicle it was they found parked was the same vehicle that they had seen him at the gas station in. And
Because he owns several different vehicles.
it's the same. And he directly went from the gas station to Fred's house because he told these people that he was heading to Fred's, and they didn't ever see Cotton again. The next thing they heard was Cotton was unalive. It's also the same vehicle that they claimed that Laura's fingerprint was found in by law enforcement.
Well, I know for a fact there ain't no fingerprints of mine or Laura's on or in his vehicle.
And all he knows for a fact, how can he speak for Laura? That's a big red flag right there. How can you speak for Laura? You don't know if Laura, happened to go up to Cotton's car and talk to him and leave her fingerprints. You don't know what Laura was doing. You don't know if Laura went out and got Cotton a pack of cigarettes and brought them back to him. You ain't with Laura every second. So how do you know if her fingerprints were in there or not? How could you speak for her? Unless you tried wiping it all down, right? And thought you did an excellent job. How can you speak for someone else's fingerprints? Gotta wonder about that, right? And
I do know that for a fact.
do you think
I
he could have
wouldn't-
been afraid? Because I would be like, listen, I don't know whose fingerprints were in that car, if any were found or not. I just know that none of mine was. Right? I can't speak for anyone else. They have to speak for themselves. But I know mine wasn't. He's speaking for him and Laura, just like he was speaking for him and Marvin when he's talking about Betty Joe, right? There's people Fred feels he needs to protect. Why? If they're innocent, you don't need to protect nobody, right? That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. Of the people who seen him at that gas station, do you think that maybe it was these two people that he was
It could
afraid
be.
of? Because he knew
It
that.
could.
Hey, PG, little girl. I appreciate that. I appreciate your support for Summer's channel. All right. Much love, Mama PG. Prayers. Hey, girl. You must have dropped in the basement, got you some brownies, and headed back over to the chat. Right? God bless. I appreciate it.
Possibly. I mean, because he was speaking of that right after he got there at my house,
And they did know. They did know that he had quite a sum of money, too. They knew that as well.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I mean, that's real possible because he was acting nervous as hell when he was at my place, when he was talking. Because I had Marvin there working for me that day when Cotton had come.
Right.
Because I always work Marvin quite a bit and stuff.
Right. How is Fred working anybody when he ain't got no money for himself? How? Somebody make that make sense. Wow. Did you know Cotton's daughter?
No, I don't even know her name or what she looks like or nothing. I heard he had a daughter, but as far as me knowing anything about her, no.
Yeah, she's like 35 years old. And she, to my understanding, she says he doesn't deserve justice.
I don't know.
Do
Nothing about it.
you know any reason she would feel that way?
Cotton's always been kind of a pervert, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin always let on like that. Cotton would always want to go to, like, I'm trying to think of Woodridge. It's called Woodridge, but
Right.
what they do, Woodridge is a place that they house a lot of crazy people.
What? See, he wants to, you know, he wants to take Cotton's character and destroy it, you know, and there you go, you know, in his mind, it's, you know, Cotton's a, you know, a purr. No, that ain't why his daughter was upset with him. His daughter was upset with him because he got with another woman and wasn't paying as much attention to her as, you know, he did prior to him going into this another marriage. And, you know, it was a lot of conflict between him and, you know, his daughter got along with him and the other lady, but you know how it is. You want your dad with your mom, you want your dad, you know, with you know, you don't want all of that, you know, all of that extra baggage, you know, in your family sometimes, and it can cause, you know, some trouble and turmoil and things like that. And that was what, you know, the daughter was talking about. I personally spoke with the mother, you know, upon this topic here. Why, you know, was your daughter saying this? And, you know, it was because of, you know, the change in everything. It had, you know, nothing to do with where Fred's mind was going. And, you know, Fred's mind goes that direction with all these people. It goes that direction with Cotton. It goes that direction with Jody Sue's son. It goes, you know, his mind's going that direction with, you know, I don't know where Cotton's mind's going or Jody Sue's son's mind. I know where the hell Fred's mind's going, and that worries me. Right? That worries me. Just saying. What?
And said that he's always wanting to go pick up women and stuff from Woodridge.
He wants to go pick up women at a nut hole?
Psych ward. Yeah.
What?
I mean, that's what Marvin allowed. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not, but that's what Marvin always talked about with Cotton.
Whoa. Yeah, I heard Cotton could say some really horrible things.
Cotton had a lot of brain traumas and stuff, and had brain. I don't know if it was a stroke or what, but he had some plates and stuff in his head and stuff. He wrote a crazy check.
Right.
That the law enforcement wasn't.
No, he didn't. He retired from his job. And do you see, I'm telling you, this is how evil people talk about other humans, you know, that they want people to dislike, or they want people to turn against, or they want people to to shine everything on me and nothing on that person. You know, if they're plotting against a person, they'll do this to them. You know, exactly what Fred is doing right here. This is this is definitely the calling card for evil human beings. This is a devil's old trick of, claiming that the person, has all these mental issues and all these problems, and they're, and they're untrustworthy. They're not, their credibility is shit. And, all of this crap. Because that's what they want you to believe. Because they need you. They need you to believe this against the other person. In order, and a lot of people will. A lot of people, because a lot of people will believe what Fred's saying against Cotton because they don't give a crap. They don't know Cotton, and they don't give a crap about Cotton. And they're willing to believe whatever Fred says, because they're Fred's buddy. And they'll go along with it. But you know what? All you're doing, and that's why the Bible says the blind will follow the blind and they'll all fall in together, right? Basically, you'll end up in Hades. You'll end up in Hades, The blind follow the blind. They're all on that big old road. And and they're heading straight to Hades, right? They're heading straight to the bad place. And they ain't even smart enough to know it. I'm gonna tell you what. If I end up in Hades, I want it, at least I want to be able, to do everything to take myself there. I sure the hell ain't gonna let other people. I ain't letting other people's crap put me in hell. When somebody talks to me the way Fred is talking about Cotton, you know what I think? I think Cotton has a right to defend himself. There's two sides to every story, and I want to know both of them. I want to know both sides before I go judging somebody. That's who I am. I'm not going to listen to Fred and his bullshit, because Fred could actually be making me miss out on a really good person, a really good friend, somebody that would truly have my back instead of being evil. And one day, right now Fred's talking about Cotton. The next day it could be you, right? Next day it could be you. And the next day after that, somebody else. Because that's who Cotton, who Fred is. I want to know what Cotton's side of the story was. And I'm going to tell you now, I know people that's been in some really tragic accidents. They got plates in their head. But I'm going to tell you what, they think just as normal as me and you. They talk just as normal as me and you. They had to have the plate, to protect everything. And, but it didn't hinder who they was or how intelligent they was or anything like that, right? It's like a person who gets a knee replacement, they're still able to walk. Just because they got a knee replacement doesn't mean, they got to sit down all the time or drag their leg with them or anything like that. They're still fully functional. And, and hear the way he talks about this plate and Cotton's head and stuff. I mean, wow. That's, just because you've had to have surgery and artificial parts put into you to keep you going and functioning doesn't make you, it doesn't make you immobile, mentally, physically, or any other way. And Cotton, even with everything Fred's saying, and if it was true, well, I'm going to tell you, that looks even worse on Fred in my book. Because after all of this stuff with Cotton, he still worked a job every single day, got paid the right way, and retired the way everyone else retires, from hard work. Something Fred didn't do. Right? And Fred didn't even have a plate in his head. He didn't have all the issues that he's saying Cotton had. But he couldn't get up every damn day, go to a real job, make a real paycheck, and retire like a real human does. Right? That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. And I tell you something else. I talked to Cotton's exes, especially the one that's got the daughter. She said Cotton was an amazing dad, loved his daughter with everything he had, and he worked and he paid and he raised his daughter. Meaning he put food in her stomach, clothes on her back, and took care of her, and he didn't ever lose her. He didn't ever lose her from doing something stupid. Right? Laura and Fred lost every child they had up there because of Fred and because of who and how Fred was. Well, Cotton didn't ever lose his children. He actually raised his children, and one of his wives had children that didn't even belong to him, and he was raising them too. Yeah, Fred, I know about Cotton, and I think you know about Cotton too, but you decided to destroy his character because you feel you need his character destroyed because everybody, including law enforcement, is looking at you for what happened to this man at Laurel Run Park right after he got out of jail. Yeah. Absolutely. Rest in peace, Cotton. Rest in peace. God bless.
Never take nothing he said serious, because when somebody that's drawing a crazy check, if they are anything to what they're saying, they can't testify in court because of that.
You hear that? You hear that? He's trying to say whatever Cotton said. It doesn't matter what Cotton's seen. It doesn't matter what Cotton heard. It doesn't matter what Cotton told people. Because, his credibility wouldn't hold up to anything anyway. He slandered this man. Totally and utterly slandered him. And I'm going to tell you, if he could talk this horrible about this man, he sure wouldn't have a problem, unliving him, right? If you could talk this bad about somebody, you sure wouldn't have a problem taking them out of this world. That's my opinion. I'll keep it. But I'm going to tell you what, you just heard what PG was talking to Fred Hill about. You just heard, more of me keeping it professional, right? More of me keeping it where a conversation should be, because that's what PG does. That's what PG does. But Ziggy wanted people to lead people to believe something different, something sinister. And I'm going to tell you, I am the wrong person to lie on. I'm the wrong person. The very wrong. Don't lie on me. Because I tell you what, I will come back with the truth. To the point you won't be able to stand it. I will put on my suit of armor and my steel-toed boots, and I will come back with the truth. And I will take your lies and wad them up into the trash they was and put them in the dumpster. Trust and believe me. I am the last person on the face of this earth that you would want to bear false witness against. Because I ain't got nothing to hide. I don't live for humans like you, Ziggy. I live for God Almighty and Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, and the angels that watch over us. But I live for God, number one. Something you don't know nothing about, but you need to learn. Right? Don't come at me. I'm the wrong person to come at. I learned a long time ago. God's the only person in this world. Him and his son's the only people I need. The only people there when no one else is. The only ones that's going to ever truly understand who I am. The only ones that's ever going to be there for me when I need it the most. And that's who I live for. Nothing more, nothing less. You, on the other hand, Ziggy, you live for yourself. And you want everybody else to live for you too. That's your problem. You're all take, no give. And you don't care. You don't care to be the devil's daughter. You don't care to lie. You don't care to defy God in every way you can, while you're defying all of his children on this earth as well. You're just an evil person I ain't got nothing for. But I will keep playing out every word. Right, Ziggy? I'm going to let everybody hear exactly what me and Fred talked about. Because I ain't got a damn thing to hide. I ain't got nobody to impress. I know the truth. And all these people's going to know it too. So you can just sit your big self down in that chair and whine and cry. Whine and cry, Ziggy, while the truth is devouring all of your lies. Right? That's what you need to do. She's she's lucky. Ziggy's a very lucky lady. She's a very lucky lady. You guys know how I used to be. You guys know how I used to handle things out here. Right? I used to handle things trying to teach people a lesson. Trying to teach them, how do they like it? How do they like it? Quit doing it to other people. How do you like it? You don't. So stop doing it to others. But it ain't my job. It ain't my job to try to open these people's eyes up to their own evilness. And I ain't going to do it no more. Because returning bad for bad ain't the answer. It ain't the answer. That isn't the answer. Returning the truth for lies is the answer. Sticking with God is the answer. Not letting people get you off of your path is the answer. Not being able to be moved is the answer. I'm handling things out here now the way I handle things in my personal life behind all of this. And I'm going to continue to do so because I like who I am away from YouTube. I like who I am away from this way more than I like who I am out here. This out here is what I left behind. This is what I left behind when I got baptized, when I got saved. I took I gave my life to the Lord and I got baptized, my eyes open. I left that cesspool behind me. I left all that cussing and carrying on and acting erratic, out of control. And I hate to say it, right down shameful behind me. Wasn't no call for it. As a cesspool. I got real tired of living every day on the edge. I got tired of always having to watch my back, learning constantly that I could trust no one, learning that, everybody's truly for themselves and nobody's really got anybody else's back when you're in a cesspool like that. And I was in fear of becoming like those people. I knew I wasn't like them. I just wanted to hang out, just wanted to have friends, just wanted to be, like everybody else. That's what you fall into when you're a kid, when you're a teen, young adult, you fall into that trash. But it ain't long, you start seeing your friends, you know, you start reading their obituaries. You start visiting them up at funeral homes. You start watching your crowd shrink. New people joining. A lot of old people gone. And you know you got to get out because it's not good. I made a change, became a different human being, and I like it. I like who I am. I like getting up every day, thanking God for another day. I like getting up every day, loving everyone around me. I like getting up every day, praying for everybody instead of somebody. I like knowing that God's always watching over me, keeping me safe, along with my family, my friends. I like who PG is. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not losing it. I'm not going to lose all of this to be out here going at a bunch of haters sideways. I ain't doing it. Ain't worth it to me. When I told that lady tonight she's got a heaven to gain and a hell to shun, I meant it. When I told her I'm going to pray for her, I meant that too. I hope everybody's in heaven, not somebody. I'm going to tell you, I think we could find Summer, bring her home, get justice with love way quicker than we can with hatred. I think I got a better chance of God answering my prayers for Summer Moon Utah Wells if I wasn't trying to straighten out a bunch of haters every time I come in to our chat and here in other people's panels. You know, the devil's always tempting you. I was at Brooks today, and a lady tried to tempt me. She said something ugly. Brooks, why do you let PG over here talking over you? I wasn't talking over Brooks. When you're up on panel, that's how people talk. We're not passing a talking stick. Hey, it's your turn. We're not giving speeches where everybody takes a turn. We're having a conversation about missing children, and everybody's talking. Everybody's trying to figure out what happened, and it's okay. It's okay. It happens on my panel. It happens on other people's panels because, you know, we're all conversating. We all got something to say. We all got something to add. We all got, you know, things we want to get out before we forget it that might be valuable or vital to the case. So we talk as we talk, but no one's talking over. We're talking to one another. But, you know, the devil's advocates want to, you know, see it and spin it the way they please, the way they want, to make it something ugly, to cause, you know, to stir up strife. But I ignored it. You know, I let it go. I seen it. And I let it go. And I prayed for the lady. I prayed for her. I hope she sees her airy ways. And I hope that, she's got a heaven to gain, the hell to shun as well. And I hope she gains that heaven. And I moved on with myself. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. Because that's what I do in real life. It's not my battle to fight. It's God's. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Vengeance is mine. I shall measure it up, let it be good or bad, and I shall pour it back out upon them. It's not for me to be, to be dealing with all of these evil people. And it's not about me. It's about them. It's about, the evil spirits within their self. Has nothing to do with PG. And you got to leave that to God. You got to leave that to God. I ain't trying to, if they need an exorcist, then they need to call somebody else. I'm not it. Right? I'm not it. I don't do that shit. Just saying. And I'm not going to address them demons no more. That's their demons, not mine. And I thank God for that. Right? So I didn't address it. I'm not going to address it no more. I don't care. I don't care what haters have to say. I don't care how, they come at PG sideways. I don't care anything about them no longer. The only thing PG has to do in the sight of God Almighty is righteousness. And I've got to tell all evil people that the only way to heaven is through Jesus Christ. And they need to turn away from their wickedness and start walking towards the righteous path. That's what I have to do. And that's all I'm going to do. And I truly hope the best for them. That's true too. But when I come out here packing the truth. I just want everybody to know the truth. I want everybody to know the truth about Andy Bernard, who is surrounding Summer's case. I want you to know the truth about Fred Hill surrounding Summer's case. I want you to know the truth about Don, Candace, and Grandis. I want you to know the truth about all of these number one suspects surrounding this little girl's case who needs to be found, brought home, and justice served on her behalf. She is the victim. They are the suspects. I will not, and I have not bared false witness against none of these people. I always bring receipts. That is what I'm trying to put out, came right out of the horse's mouth. And I always tell the truth to what these people say, what these people do, and how these people are. I am not judging no one. I'm just looking at the facts, and there is plenty of facts. And I'm calling them facts out because I want Summer found. I want her brought home. I want justice. And I want closure. And I will continue to do that. And I'll do that for any child's case. I do no less in Emmanuel's case. I do no less in Jack and Lily's case. And I would do no less in Michael Vaughn's or Sebastian Rogers' case. Because these children deserve someone to be their voice. And that's what we are. And we're going to continue to be. And each and every one of you matter, because each and every one of you pack power to get things done for these kids. I wanted to get to another subject tonight, but I've held you guys up long enough. I wanted to get to another subject that has been waiting on my mind, but it's going to have to hold off till tomorrow night. It's got to hold off till tomorrow night, but I will bring it, and I will play it first. Since it was last in line tonight, I'll play it first tomorrow. But I think you'll find it quite interesting as well. I don't want to get into it tonight because we'll be here another long time, and we all got to get some rest. I know I do. I've got a full day work tomorrow, and somebody's got to pay the bills, right? Somebody's got to pay the bills. That's me. So I'm going to let you guys get some rest so you can pay the bills. I'm going to get some rest so I can pay the bills. And then you know what? I want to let you know, I know I don't do it often enough, but I want every last one of you to know how much I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys to the fullest. I thank God that there are so many people that care about these little babies and their well-being. I really thank you guys. I thank you for, loving these kids the way they deserve to be loved. I really do. You guys are awesome. You're irreplaceable. You're irreplaceable. And you're good. You're good folks. Don't ever let no one tell you you're not, because I'm telling you, you are. And I know good people when I see them. You're good people. God bless each and every one of you that are here for the right reasons. God bless you. Keep those prayers going up for Summer Moon Utah Wells. Keep them going up for Sebastian, for Michael, for Jack and Lily, and for little Emmanuel, who has not been found yet. All of these children need to be found, brought home, and justice served against the evil beings that are evil enough to destroy little innocent babies, little children. Our future. Our future. This has got to stop. It's got to stop. Keep the prayers going up, you guys. God bless. Much love. And stay on that right path. Stay on the right path. Don't let the devil get you off of it. Good night, everybody. God bless.